there are some agents that aren't really great at their job and they have ill intentions. And I would much rather be the one to earn the business so I know that they're getting taken care of than Joe Schmo over here who has it just because he wants to meet his numbers. So another way to look at it is you have the best intentions for your clients, and there are some people out there who don't.
All right, so welcome, new episode of Real Estate vs. Technology. Yeah, I'm excited for deeper conversations as our shows, if you don't already know now, they're up to an hour long. So, big thanks to Liftoff Agent for sponsoring the show. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We're gonna get more people here in the hot seat next to me. But for right now, we're gonna be on StreamYard interviewing someone that just has an amazing heart. And I've seen her on some lives with Elias and also Kenny. And Kenny was actually our very first episode here on Real Estate vs. Technology, true fact. And so two-time icon agent, we're going to South Carolina, and we're going to bring the one and only Jessie Ross on. And welcome to Twitter.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be on your show.
Of course. It's so crazy. We're at to 400 and almost 30 episodes, I believe it is now.
Wow.
And it just flies by. And I know before we got on, and there might have been a little bit of the sound bites out there from the team doing the editing, what have you, but it's about having deeper connections, right? Sometimes getting millions of followers could be glamorous from the perspective of like, oh yeah, I went viral. But in actuality, are those people in line with your vision, your mission, your goal, where you're headed? And going viral sometimes is not always, you don't always get that deeper connection. So I'm just curious about you, curious to go deeper with our conversations today, with the intention just to add value to our community, right? At the end of the day.
I love that so much. Yeah. And you're right. Sometimes with the larger, I guess, followings, you can lose sight of that one-on-one kind of like that intimate time frame with each other. So I think
Yes.
that's a great way to look at it.
100%. Amen. I love it. So, man, this world of real estate, right? It's an interesting industry. Everything from what happened with NAR, now the Fed's, dropping some rates here. I mean, obviously the rates kind of already dropped before, but it's funny how everyone's talking about that now.
Right.
When did you decide to go into this world of real estate?
It is a crazy world. You've described it very well. It's a roller coaster, and I tell everyone that ever thinks about getting into it, I'm like, "Are you sure?" It's a roller coaster. It's super hard. It's a lot more difficult than anyone ever anticipates. But the big but is that it is life changing. If you commit yourself to it, it can change not only your life, but the people that in your family, your friends, your coworkers. It can change so many lives.
Yeah.
So with that, comes big dedication. But that was something that, I was so many people have the same backstory as far as like bartending or being in the service industry.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was doing prior to this real estate life. And some random person just said, "Hey, you'd be really good at real estate." And I thought, well, gosh, everyone in my town is a real estate agent. Why me? So I ended up sitting down with a really good friend. She's been in the industry ever since I feel like she was born, and she gave me the same kind of pep talk, like, "Hey, you would be really great at it, but it's really tough. So I don't want you to come into it thinking that it's going to be all glitz and glamour. That's what the TV shows you. They don't show you the behind the scenes." And I did. I got connected with a great mentor, and she showed me it could be done. She was younger than me. She was doing like 100 deals a year, and I thought, okay, well, gosh, if she can do it, I know I can.
Yeah.
And so here we are, really. I mean, I kept surrounding myself with people that are doing wildly amazing things. And here I am 8 years later.
I love that. I think another thing too, for individuals to think about, if you're coming from a service industry, bartending, what have you, Cami was on our show. She's from Vegas, and she was one of the cocktail waitresses out there, and she's crushing it. She's one of her just true authentic selves. Met her at an event for Neil Holmes' Forward event. It's interesting because I feel like if you are going to get in the business, to go into the industry of like, say, or if you're in the industry, go with like a cloud-based brokerage. Like I like how you're with EXP, because I don't think a lot of individuals understand that like you're deal by deal. Like there's no like reoccurring revenue model unless you're with, say, a cloud-based brokerage and you have rev share, or you're building a
Mhm.
downline and what have you. And so you've already hit Icon twice. So that's like, what, I think payback of like $32,000,
Correct. Yep. Yep. So I've been
right?
with EXP for 3 years. I missed it by one last year, and I was not going to make that same mistake. So first year I got Icon, second year I missed it by one, and then this year I got it already. So yeah,
Let's
it's been, and you're right, exactly. So I mean, even the previous brokerage I was with, they didn't offer anything like that. So it was all this, money paying into it,
Yeah,
and I never really got to see that back. And then now we just get rewarded for doing the same job that I was already doing 5 years,
love
at
it.
my previous brokerage. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, 100%. So give the viewers and listeners who are thinking EXP, Real Broker, like whatever, Keller Williams, there's a
Yeah.
lot of different ones and different options. We'll focus on EXP. And then once you hit Icon, like what does it take to get to that? Once you do get to that, then, what does that look like in regards to commission splits, bonuses, what have you?
Yeah. So for the first, so you pay in $16,000 until you cap. So basically, it's an 80-20 split until you reach $16,000 paid in. And then at that point, you're 100% of your compensation. We have to say compensation now, but not commission. So I have to
Yeah.
keep watching myself on that word.
There
And
you go.
then, and then after that, it's approximately 20 transactions after you have capped out at your 100%. And then once you get to that 20 transactions, they reward you back 16,000. Now it's in increments, $8,000 immediately, $4,000 for helping out our company, which is really great. So you can be a mentor, you can teach classes, which again, I could go on all day about that. I love the fact that we, as agents that are producing, are able to provide value to other agents, not agents that have done 2 deals and then now feel like they can teach a class. It's from
Yeah.
folks that have a proven track record that are helping our agents. And then the other 4,000, which is fun, they reward that to you by going to events. So we're going to EXP Con in Miami in October. That is
Love it.
fully paid for. So
Wow.
that's really cool. So they will reimburse me for all my expenses there. So it's pretty exciting.
That's awesome. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that there should be incentives, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
feel that it puts the pressure on a lot of the traditional brokers to ask
Yeah.
themselves what are they committed to, and what could be done differently to be able to add value. Because I don't know about you or whoever's listening to you out there, but if I close something or something happens, I like to go get myself some dinner or lunch or treat myself because it feels good, right? Like, yes, I did this
Yeah,
thing.
I finally did it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Which is awesome. So then in the EXP world, you're hitting these milestones. You're having this success. You're
Mm-hmm.
talking about also opportunity to be able to serve, support, and feed into the success of other agents out there. Why? Like, why are you doing what you're doing? What drives you to do what you're doing? Because it's one thing to earn, I guess you could say, air quotes, money, right? And then after
Right.
you receive the money and you have the house, you have the car, you have the family, you have the things, I feel like it's like, what's next, right? What keeps you
Yeah.
motivated? What keeps you moving forward?
Yeah, and then I love that question so much. So something I learned very early on is that, you know, the more money you make, the more money you'll spend.
Yeah.
So there's always something that you're going to chase. There's the money is never the reward. It's what
Yeah.
you're able to do with the money. And it was, I finally had my aha moment. And it might sound so small to so many, but this was my aha moment. About 4 years ago, I was able to take my family to Disney World, and I was never able to do that as a child. We very super humble beginnings, and my family just couldn't afford to do so.
Mm.
So when we decided, my husband and I decided on a Thursday night that we were going to go to Disney the next day. So we were online, booked everything. When we got to Disney, I mean, it was never $1 that we had to worry about spending. We just balled out on Disney, and
Let's
I was
go.
a mess. My kids were having a ball. They had no idea how much it meant to me, but I got so emotional when I was there because I was like, this is the moment that I realized that it's not the money. It was what I was able to do and provide for my family. And then so even this, like I have a little, I don't know if you can see it might be blurred out, but
Vision board.
just
See it?
it's just like a goal board of things that I want to do. And again, like I get my why, like this Thanksgiving, I get to rent out a whole big cabin for my whole family to come and do. And we're doing a train ride. So it's those things, those are my whys. My why is providing for my family these experiences that I was never being able to, afford it as a child,
Yes.
and providing that not only for my children but for my mom and for my dad and
Yes.
for my in-laws. Like, that's the big picture for me, is creating the memories. So it's not the car, it's not the house, it's not even really the vacations, it's the memories. And having those visual reminders, it literally in front of me every day, makes me not be afraid to have the hard conversations or prospect every day. I have a reason why, and it's not just a fancy watch.
I love that. I love that. And I feel that so many people use the term like legacy. And
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. So if you believe differently, I totally respect that. I just feel that like when you say, oh, your family's legacy, and you think about that from a financial terms, right? So
Mm-hmm.
leaving some type of financial money or whatever behind for the family, what have you. I feel like true legacy is the way you show up for others, not expecting for anything in return.
Mm.
And those memories, like you said, that you had, that are going to be there for a lifetime, right? And so
Yeah.
those are going to be the memories that your children will share with their children, and so on and so forth, and how you showed up and how you did with the things that you did. And who knows, maybe you'll pass on a house, or whatever it
Yeah.
is that maybe the generations can enjoy more so than passing on. I feel like people get so caught up thinking, oh, well, even if you have a life insurance policy and you give that $1 million back, like, okay,
Yeah.
great. But it's more of like the mindful thought process of like, okay, you're going to get the million, but it's going to go towards this, 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 and this. And there's going to be a will. And it's going to be more complicated than
Mm-hmm.
just like, here's the cash, or the way that you are showing up for your family, that they'll always remember that's a part of your legacy for forever.
Yeah, and it's something, and exactly, that's exactly what it is. It's the legacy aspect of it, and being able to provide others a little bit of a leg up that maybe we weren't able to be handed when
Yes.
we were younger. And it's not the fact that I do want to spoil the crap out of everyone that I know, but it's so easy to do that. But it's also giving, just giving back, and I
Yes.
know it sounds so cliche and just so you hear people say that all the time, but it really is truly. And then when you do give back, with, like you just said, without expectation of getting anything back, it's so, I don't want to say satisfying because that almost takes away the gift that it gives you, but it's just something about it is just so, you can't even put it into words when you're able to do something like that and see the joy on everyone else's faces. I mean, no amount of money will ever be able to, bring that kind of joy in my life.
I love that. And if you agree, like, we would love to get your feedback to make our podcast interactive here, whether you're watching on YouTube or just listening in on any of the streaming platforms out there. If you believe, legacy is more than just monetary value, and it's the
Mm-hmm.
memories that you share with your friends, family, and loved ones, comment. And in contrast, I feel like, just it's interesting, Jessica, thinking about, like, for me, I'm on the same page as you. And so technically, I'm on the marketing side with Lift Off Agent that sponsors the show. So I'm not like a licensed agent, more so on the fix and flip side with my wife and I. And we do also Airbnb, house hacking, stuff like that, in regards to like direct to give contrast to anyone who's viewing for the real estate side. And it's interesting because you do start to get to a point where, like, in my family, I'm the first entrepreneur. In my family, I'm the first person to do what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
it's amazing. Then it also sometimes it's like, I don't know, not that you're expecting anything. And also you don't want, like, for me personally, like, my family just to expect everything from me too. Like, I'm the person who has all the money, is always just going to pay because I
Right.
can. Because I feel like, there has to be some level of accountability for them to understand that, like, there's a lot of hard work, dedication, and passion behind it. Not to mention, like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm an affirmations person. So you just say like something like,
Love that.
"Hey, Norm, I see that. I see you. Thank you. That's awesome."
Yeah.
Like, that makes me feel like good about, serving, supporting, helping, what have you. So I feel like, in contrast to what you said, there is a balance to, like, how much you do just give, because then eventually people just expect it. And then I
Oh
feel like
gosh,
the
yes.
magic kind of goes away.
And you're right, and that's what I was just saying. I didn't want to say, like, it almost takes away from the gift as far as, like, the feeling that you get whenever you're
Yes.
giving. But it does. You're right. It does come to a point where people will start expecting that. But I truly believe that the people in your life that, you're able to help out and give these memories and these experiences to. I mean, it's always going to be those folks that are going to take advantage of it. It's okay, but
Of
it's
course.
okay. You have to know that you're there and you're able to do this, and then maybe one
Yes.
day they'll be grateful. But you have to have the mindset of, I'm able to be able to do this when they may not be able to, and I'm providing an experience or a memory for them. I mean, we all have family that's in that situation. It's I'm no exception to the rule here. But I just have to say, with a grateful heart, I'm so blessed to be able to do that.
I love
Um, yeah, and just the legacy aspect of it is just being able to. I always wanted to be, and it's almost unselfish, but I always wanted to be the person in the family that was able to help everybody. Like I want to help my family get out of debt. I want to help, my young nieces and nephews buy cars. Like there's certain little aspects of it that I want to be able to do. But anyways.
I love that. That's awesome. I think that is definitely something that is admirable about, you, and it speaks a lot about your character and what you're doing. And I'm right there with you. I feel like for me, I think to myself, like, how can I serve and support, but do it in like a way that's like mindful so they can, I don't know, like learn through the process, maybe
Yeah.
halfway and I'll buy you a car. You know what I'm saying? How do you,
Yeah.
how do you
Yeah.
get 50%, right? Or like, hey, okay,
Yeah.
you're in debt. Like, how did you get there in the first place? And so
Yeah. Let's learn a
we
lesson.
pay off the debt. Like, how do we reverse engineer it, right? Like, what do we need to do?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
little things like that. Cause I feel like, what do they say? Like when someone wins like the lottery, like
Yeah.
if their thermostat isn't set to millions and then they win millions and then it's just like they lose it as fast as they had it. Because I do feel that there's a level of discipline that it takes. And you know this as you're having more success, with your career, the level of discipline it takes to be able to not just like earn it, but to keep it.
That's a big one. And just like I said in the very beginning, the more money you make, the more money you spend. And I've
Yeah.
had this conversation with so many agents that have just come on and like, this is the most I've never made more than $30,000 a year. And now I'm in six figures and I still am
Yeah.
broke. And I'm like, okay, so let's start from there. Now you're still broke and you're making six figures. Why? It's just like you said, why? How did we get here? And I mean, it does take money to make money. A lot of the times,
Yeah.
but it is true. I mean, you can really you can kind of start spinning out of control if you don't help yourself.
100% agreed. I'm a big advocate to last remark before I want to ask you a question in
Yeah.
regards to training agents, supporting agents, and the mental mindset of money is that I love to invest, right? Whether it's dollar cost averaging into the stocks, bonds, annuities, and or reinvesting into yourself, personal health, whatever it is, like massages, getting yourself taken care of, eating really good food, things of that nature. So, supporting yourself from the perspective you did this, a good job. Now you earn that. So that way I feel like there's some type of wealth building, whether it's into real estate, short-term, long-term investments, and or stocks, bonds, annuities, crypto. So that way there's a way to see the money kind of grow, if you will. And then so that way you feel like it's not just all going, but then you can
Yeah.
put aside some cash.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's tough, especially whenever you get in that grind mode. And I'm very guilty of doing this. Is I will literally put my head down and work and work and work, and then I won't reward myself. And then
Uh,
I get into burnout mode. I'm a sprinter. I'm not a marathon runner. I will go really hard, really fast, and just crash. And I've had coaches all the time like, Jess, you need to, just like you said, reward yourself more, take a deep breath. But I'm just like, no, I got to do all of this. I have so many goals. So
yes.
yeah, I need to take notes on rewarding myself more often, because I definitely don't do that.
Amen to that. Viewers and listeners out there, if you feel like you need to reward yourself more because you're just go, 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 and you don't give yourself that option or opportunity, highly recommend that, you think about what you're doing and what you're committed to, and give us your feedback. Do you take your
Yes.
time for yourself? Do you reward yourself? I think it's so important because, yeah, you get to the end and then you're like, okay, well, I'm here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
now what?
Yeah. Now,
You
now
know?
what? Hmm.
I mean, of course, there's always an opportunity to have the now what, but I think that as I've been growing, 10 years in this industry myself, almost now 300 440 episodes in real estate first technology, it's like just being content with what is. I feel like, and not
Hmm.
needing maybe an external influence, if you will. Got to have the new iPhone, got to have the new Google
Yeah.
Pixel phone, got to have the nice. I feel like you got to sometimes just be like, all right, like practice that gratitude, which you do every morning for like what you already
Hmm.
have, so then you can
Yes.
be able to be appreciative to what's next.
That's so
Yeah.
important. Something that I learned from one of my mentors, and she would always share with me her gratitude message in the morning, and it was always so simple, and I love
Mm.
that. It was thank you thank you God for my feet hitting the ground this morning. Thank you for a roof over my head, for the car to get me to and from my appointments. I mean, it was just everything was so simple, but it really brings it back to I am so blessed from what I have, and sometimes you lose sight of that.
Yes.
I'm walking distance to the beach, and I love where I live. It's so amazing, but there's those moments that you just kind of forget how genuinely lucky and blessed you
Mm,
are. So yeah, taking those moments to be super grateful for the I don't want to say small things, but the things that we
yes.
tend to overlook a lot is very it's very good. It's a very good habit to be in.
Yes, agreed. And that's where I love, like in the car world, where one of my passions lie about one of my dream cars, which is a Nissan GTR. And so I go
Ooh.
to these car shows, and then when I go to these car shows, I get to live vicariously through someone else. Whether it's think,
Hmm.
hey, can I take pictures? Can I sit in it? Can I rev it? Can I take a drive with you? And then
Yeah.
that happens, and I get a lot of DMs from people here in Gilbert, Arizona, where I live, 20 minutes outside of Scottsdale, where they're like, hey, we'd love to do a photo shoot and so on and so forth. And I'm pick and choose and whatever the case may be, but it like lights that spark up again. I'm like, oh
It
man,
does. You're
this
like,
is
I
what it's
really
all
want
about,
that. That's
you
it.
know?
I like
Yeah.
that. The touch it, feel it, and it helps you dream and gets you motivated. That's cool.
Yes. I love that. I love that. So let's switch the gears a little bit. Same,
Okay.
same light, but getting into agents. And so it sounds like you're doing a bit of coaching, mentoring, helping, because of course there was someone that I had. Oh yeah, Hatchman. He was on our podcast, and he said it's one thing to mentor, it's another thing to be mentored, and one to be a mentee, and going back and forth as far as like, okay, I'm going to have these mentors, they're going to help me, and then I'm going to mentor other people and meet them where I used to be, so we can all
Mhm.
grow, and it can just be this everlasting, I guess, like kind of, I guess, like process. It's like, I guess, like the with the infinity symbol, it keeps
Yeah.
going around and around. So when you're teaching, coaching, speaking into these agents about their why, what they're going to do, making money, like what are some things that I think the viewers and listeners can take from some of the things that you coach on if they want to get into this industry, and they're gonna come into a lot more money, a lot more
Mhm.
opportunities. I mean, easy come, easy go. Like, what are some things that you would
Yeah.
like to touch on? I'm curious.
So definitely the first thing I always ask whenever they get into real estate, kind of like what you had originally asked me, was like, why did you get in real estate? I think
Yeah.
that's a big, I think that's probably the most important question, right? Why are you doing this? And
Mm,
if it's because I want to make a lot of money, okay, why do you want to make a lot of money? Like, I feel like you need to keep asking the whys to figure out the root of why you want to be here and what you want to do, because there will be a time, a second year of real estate for me, I remember walking to my mentor's office and just bawling my eyes out. And I thought, I'm
mm,
not meant for this. This isn't working for me.
mm,
I'm struggling. And she was just so motivating and just, hey, you can do this. You're right on the cusp of really breaking through. So there's going to be a time, whether it's early in your career or later, that you're going to doubt whether this is for you. But it's just knowing why you want to work so hard, with that you can face your family at the end of the day and be like, I have tried everything I can for us to
mm,
succeed in this life. I know Ricky Caruth has a whole thing like with prospecting. He said,
mhm.
never ever do I want to go back home to my family at the end of the day and say, I just didn't feel like making the phone calls today, guys. Sorry, we're gonna eat ramen for the next week. It's those little things of the discipline, but really that's what comes down to it, and that's how I get coached as well. Is they, I don't want the pat on the back. I love words of affirmation, but I want to, hey, you did a good job, but what else can you do? Because I feel like if someone is always telling me great job, I'll bring my foot off the gas. I feel like I'm doing maybe
Yeah.
too well, and I'll start cooling it down a little. But really, I guess kind of go back to your question, as far it's just finding out the real, and I keep going back to the why, but I think it's very important, because to be able to get up every day, to have the hard conversations, to prospect, to struggle. There is a struggle in this business. To be able to
Yes.
do all that, you have to have something that you're so wildly passionate about that no matter what gets in your way and what obstacles, you're still going to push through and keep going for it. So that's always the number one thing that I always talk to with these new agents is why, and I keep drilling it down until I find the core
Mm,
reason of why they want to be successful, and it's different for everybody. It's different for
yeah.
everybody.
Interesting. So in your experience of going through the process of finding out why, like, what would you say? Like, how many times do you have to ask them, is it 5, 7, 10, 15? Like how many times you have to ask them for them to really go deeper until they get to a point where they're like, have a breakthrough moment? Like, do you have a story
Yeah.
for us that you could tell of someone that
Mm,
you don't have to drop a name,
yeah.
it just maybe you just give us a story, because I think that people out there, there's a lot of different information out there. There's a lot of people to watch. And, one thing that we're doing on our show here as we get ready to launch another show to go deeper is to really like give people kind of more of like something to like actually get something to like they can actually hold on to. So like, do you have a story of someone that you had to ask? How many times did you ask them? And
Yeah.
at what point did it get to the root? And what was the root? I'm curious.
So, and I don't know if I want to, go into the specific agent that I've asked this to, because like I said, everyone's so different. But there is a
Yeah.
story that it reminds me of someone. It was they had gone through the same process, and it was
Mm,
that I want to get into sales. Why? I want to make the money. Why? And then you kept again peeling the onion layer back. It was just
mhm,
layer after layer, and it was about 5 or 6 layers deep. And it was the fact that he had grown up in a home that literally had no parents. He was an orphan, and his mother and father had passed away super when he was really super young,
wow.
and he was left literally living on the streets as a very young boy. And he, got introduced to a lot of really awful things. One person came into his life, dramatically changed him and his mindset, but it was the fact that the reason whenever you kept peeling the layers back of why you want to do so well, and it started off like he wanted to just prove everyone that he could be someone because so many people told him that he couldn't be.
Mm,
And then you kept peeling it back, and even more now he's married and he has kids, and it's now providing this lifestyle for his children that, I mean, he was never able to be a child. So he
wow.
wants his children to be children, and he wants to be able to provide them with the vacations and the experiences and everything else. So it was again like, okay, I want to make money. I want to do well. I want to be someone. Okay, why do you want to be someone? Why do you feel like you need to be someone? And it was just kept, you kept going back through
Love.
and then figuring out literally he was homeless when he was a child, like living on the streets when he was a child. And then now having a family of his own, it's, kind of coming back in full circle where he can now become the person that he's always dreamt of being, that he always wished that he had as a parent. He's able to have that opportunity now, and there is nothing stopping that man. I'm going to tell you, there is nothing going to get in the way of that man and his dream. So he's been a big inspiration for me.
Wow, that's amazing. Way to turn something super negative and dark
Uh-huh.
into a positive light situation. And I think anyone who's viewing and listening out there, there's things to be said from the perspective of like understanding like why you want to do what you want to do in life. And like that's where I feel like having goals, having a vision board, I feel like there's a lot to be said too, as far as why things don't come to us as fast as maybe we wish it to, because of the fact that with the pain and the suffering and going through the process of elimination, right? To imagine having it, writing it down, getting the vision board, like pretending like you have it before you even have it, whether you're
Yeah.
walking through an open house that you wish to have one day, driving, or just going to a dealership and looking at a vehicle or clothes that you want one day and holding on to that thought vibration. Then when you get it, like it took me 10 years before I got the car that I got. I remember I was talking to someone and he's like, so was this something that you wanted? Like, and was it a long time or something that was just, had pretty quick or what have you? I said, no, it was like 10 plus years. And the level of respect that he had that I took the 10 years to go through the process to get the actual thing, was more, I guess, received and respected
Mm,
because
yeah.
of the fact that it was a long process outside of it just being, a quick, easy process. And that goes with, my wife retiring from teaching 16 years. We retired her
Mm,
2.5 years ago. And so she has a tea company, shout out Red Zantico.
that's
Look
awesome.
at her site. Yeah, she's international team master. She has someone from Dubai at our house currently teaching in the dining room of our home personally,
That's awesome.
which is crazy. That's moving out of California, buying a home in Arizona, getting a roommate, house hacking, setting up our first Airbnb, like making sure there were some things that needed to fall suit first, right? Like
Right.
giving
Yeah.
myself a consistent paycheck at Liftoff Agent that sponsors our show, and then getting to a place where it's like, okay, like hey, honey, can I get the blessing? And then we joke, she has one of those really cool, like 10 feet long tables that has like the waterfall and it's an epoxy, beautiful.
Ooh, pretty. Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, you get the table, I get the car. Not exactly, but it's kind of a joke.
Whatever makes everyone happy.
Exactly. It's a joke in our house. But I love that. So it sounds like from what you said, it could be 4, 5, 6, 7 layers deeper as to when someone's doing the exercise to find out why they want to have financial wealth and abundance, why they want to be known or whatever the case may be. What I feel is that the more that I hear these stories after just hundreds of stories, it's about serving each other.
Yeah, it really is.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like really at the deep end of it all, it's like, how are we showing up for ourselves, loving ourselves and being healthy and happy for ourselves so we can lead by example for someone else. So then that
That's it.
person could be like, wow, if Jessica could do it, I could do
Yeah,
it.
100%. Absolutely. And that's why we have these conversations, is to know that your struggle isn't alone, or your thought process. You're not the only one with this thought process.
Yes.
Success is not easy. And just like you were
No.
saying, I mean, you sacrificed so much for 10 years, probably more than that, to be honest, but sacrificed so much for that amount of time in order to be where you are. And I think that
Yeah.
that's something that's overlooked so much, is that everyone sees, and I know it's so cliched, but everyone sees the highlight reels of Instagram and Facebook, and they think, wow, like, wow, they're doing really good. Congratulations. Well, you don't
Mm,
see what they went through, the 10 plus years, and what they didn't do, what they not gave up on, but decided not to go through with in order to get to where they are. Not a lot of people
mm.
get to see that behind the scenes. And having these conversations lets other people know, hey, that's part of this. You have to,
Yes.
there is some sacrifice that has to be. You can't have everything. You have to
Yes.
sacrifice a little bit in order to get ahead. So I love the fact that you shared that with me. So thank you.
Oh, of course. No, thank you for listening and our viewers and listeners too for listening. And like it is our intention, right? To just serve, support, help, and help just one person out there be able to take something from this episode and be able to be like, oh my God, wake
I'm not the
break,
only one. Yeah.
yeah, breakthrough. Because, also too, I think that to give some context to the viewers and listeners as well, we talked about it earlier. Even after you have the vision board and you achieve the vision, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
so easy if you're not practicing gratitude for what you already have to just take it for granted because it's so easy to forget after your 5 years of ownership or 10 years of already then achieving the thing. I feel like sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's like it just turns into an ad. Like, how do you say it? I'll just say, so I'm trying to use a fancy word, but I'm just going to say object.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
Right. Until someone else sees it or someone else says, wow, I love your watch. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, not that I
Yeah.
did, but
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah.
didn't have the same meaning as far as the story behind the thing that you really wanted. And then,
100%.
how do
It's
we
almost like
keep,
the trophy. Yeah.
yes, yes,
Mm-hmm. It's like a token of the hard work. But like you said, I mean, the cool thing with the car and the watch, it's not the fact that it is the fact that you have those. Definitely makes you cooler. But it's the hard work that took it to get you there, and the
yes.
character building that you had to do along the way in order to be the man that you are and to achieve the success. It's all the character building as well. Let's not forget the character building.
And that is huge. That is so true. Yeah, it takes a lot of hard work, dedication, consistency, and then a lot of conversations to be able to
Mhm.
navigate this type of conversation because the viewers and
Yeah.
listeners out there, like, they don't know, like, it's the first time we've ever met. So it's not like
Right.
this is scripted or we already met or anything. It's just like, let's jam out, let's vibe out on this show together
Let's do it.
and let's
Yeah.
just, learn about each other, have maybe
Mhm.
breakthrough moments with each other, and then also be able to have breakthrough moments or hopefully have breakthrough moments for the guests out there that are
Yeah.
listening as well, which is awesome. So we got into some things for them to think about, everything from like the why to like really peeling back the onion on the why to once you have the success, like the gratitude side of things, setting up the vision boards, all that type of stuff. Let's get into like the nitty gritty. Like, you don't become a double icon agent and do what you've done
Mhm.
without some type of like standard operating procedure, key performance
Mhm.
indicators, like knowing where to focus your attention so you can have the income producing activities, whether people out there are door knocking, or they're making phone calls, or it's Fizbos, or it's social, or it's running ads, Zillow, or even now, which is a popular hot topic, which is passively prospecting with putting videos on YouTube or talking about your specific area and giving value to those that maybe want to relocate to said area. So how did you, and what lane did you pick when marketing, advertising, and getting yourself out there?
Love that question. So I'm when it comes to the whole tech side of it, I'm very simple, and I know it's probably not the what you were hoping to hear, but no, it's I keep it super simple. I do videos. Mine aren't professional by any means. It's always just me, the real me. Um, but really creating raving fans. That's been
Mm,
my whole outlook on this journey in real estate, is creating the people that I'm working with. I want them to have such an amazing experience and create such a great relationship with them that
mm,
they are excited to share my name and my info with their friends and their family and their neighbors.
I love it.
So I feel like that's really the biggest thing that's taken me to where I'm at now, is just creating that raving review with everyone. So something, I don't feel like anything super special, just showing up and not
Yes.
treating everyone like they're a transaction or a number, treating them
Yes.
like if they were my family. They always say they come back as friends. So I always get to stay in their life as well, kind of see them grow through the time that they're in their home. So it's been a really fun way to build business that way. It's just it's in the relationship business. Really, that's all it is.
I love that. Yeah, I feel that it's so easy for a lot of individuals out there. And maybe this is you, and there's no right or wrong. I just feel like there's a lot of times where, especially when you have these top performing agents that are doing 50, 100, 250 transactions on an annual basis, it kind of
Mm-hmm.
turns into just kind of a transactional equation. And then you might have buyer specialists, seller specialists, a huge team, what have you. But I love what you just said, because it reminds me of how people will forget what you said and did, but they won't forget the way you made them feel. And so
True.
it sounds like you're going deeper with the emotional responders, where, like, you want to know what's going on with the kids. You want to know what's going on with their lives. You want to
Yeah.
know how the house that you helped them find, which is the first house which they're raising their family in, is going. Like, is the
Yeah.
house holding up? Is there any issues? How things are going? And then,
Yeah.
right. And then there's opportunity for, like, hey, I got that plumber. Hey, I got that painter. Right. Like, hey,
Always.
I got that person. So how do you start the communication though? Like, how do you start the communication to then, like, when you say you keep it simple, is this because you're knocking doors, you're sending out flyers, like you just work off your sphere of influence, and then it just started to like expand from there? Because I think a lot of people are like hungry out there, and they're like,
Oh
yes,
yeah.
I would love to build no
We'll
like
do
trust.
anything.
Love to be an amazing person people want to refer me to. But some people just can't get out of their own way from the perspective of like,
Mm,
where do I start?
yeah. So, and something I see a lot of agents struggle with is not wanting to come across as salesy. They don't want to look as though, just like you said, they're hungry or desperate. Or all they want is business.
Yeah.
How I started definitely was my sphere of influence. That was I didn't want to come across as salesy, so I came across as super genuine. Hey, I've just joined an amazing team. I'm super excited with what I'm doing. I've really appreciated all your support that you've given me and in love over the years. I would love for you to continue support me in my new career journey. If you happen to know anyone that I can help, please let me know. And it was surprising enough that there were people that had known me even when I was a little baby, and that I'd grown up, and now I'm an adult in their eyes, come to me and trust me to help them through their real estate process. And some of them, it's taken them 8 years. I've had someone the other day just reach out and said, hey, I see you're doing some great things. And so it's not an overnight thing, but that's really
Yeah.
what I started off with, is my sphere.
Okay.
And then after that was letters, sending out letters to homeowners with just a general market analysis, letting them know, hey, listen, your neighborhood's up 40% from when you last purchased. So really just kind of doing that stuff. But
Love it.
sphere of influence is super powerful. Like, if you want to talk tech savvy, like, your phone is the biggest gold mine that you can, everything's at your fingertips. Everyone that you know is in there, videos there, photos there. The phone is the biggest tech savvy thing that you can do for real estate.
No, that's amazing. That's, it's like that, keep it simple, stupid, right? Like you don't
Mm-hmm.
need to go, anywhere crazy with it. On the technology side, there's a lot you can do with, websites or landing pages or retargeting or running ads or social, YouTube videos, editing. There's a lot that can be done. And I feel like what you're doing is great because it's just good old grassroots. And I feel that people
Yeah.
can feel your passion. Like when you're just truly just, you're not reaching out because you got a bill to pay. You're reaching out because you're going in this new direction. And hopefully anyone who's listening, viewing, like you give yourself some runway. So you need to have some savings,
Yeah.
industry. And then you're just letting them know who you are, what you're doing. And I feel like there's something to be said about how our friends, family, and loved ones like want to serve and support. And like, I'm
They
very
do.
much on the same page with you, Jessica, because I actually had my sister-in-law, crazy story, met my wife on Instagram. And so I met my wife's twin sister, and she's over at Coldwell Banker out of the Bay Area of California. And she was like, I was beating her because of lift off agent side. She looked at me kind of weird. And then she was just like, calls my wife today. Well, back at that time, just, friends, and said, I just met your future husband and the father of your children and this and that and everything else. And so I think it took her about 8 years as well to get to a point where
Mm.
she actually like gave us an opportunity and what have you. So it's,
Yeah.
it's interesting how some of the closest people to us maybe can be the most reluctant just because of the
Yeah.
fact that like, I don't know if everyone knows this, but there's a curve and it starts off with like early adapter, innovator, mass market, lagger. And sometimes you have the laggers, which are your families and the closest members to you, because not that they don't like trust you and love you and want to see you succeed, just because they just like want other people to like be the early adapters and innovators to a point where like they see that like everyone's using you. And then they're like, oh my God, like
Oh,
FOMO.
wait.
I got, wait, what's wrong? Like, hold on, Jessica, can you help me?
Yeah, and that's it. And something too that I heavily teach to other agents is that if your family member, friends, whoever, even someone that you didn't know interviewed you and ends up hiring someone else, you
Mm,
handle it with grace,
mm,
handle it professionally, because Lord knows something might not happen. Something might happen. They're either not super happy with their agent, they may drop them, it doesn't sell, and now they get to come back around to you. And now you're going to
yes.
be the hero of the story. So
Yes.
there's so many people that want to get their feelings hurt because their friends or family didn't use them. I mean, the last thing you want to do is burn that bridge because they didn't use you for business. Business isn't everything, but make sure you're handling it with class, because 99% of the time they're going to come around, or they're going to say, hey, I feel bad I didn't use you. My friend wants to purchase, I'm sending them your way.
I
So
love
something to, yeah, with that is handling rejection with class, something to learn.
That's super, super smart. Yeah, I definitely feel like that's a huge thing for viewers and listeners out there to take in consideration, because it's so easy to just get to a point where you're just kind of get sour and
Mm-hmm.
attention goes, energy flows. The last thing you want to do is have your attention on being
Yes.
sour because
Absolutely.
you
Yeah. And I
didn't.
mean, being in it for 8 years, I mean, it's been, you definitely have some ups and downs and the roller coasters there. This year, I say myself and my transaction coordinator, we're just a one man team
Yeah.
over here. We'll do about 100 transactions this year alone, but it's
Wow.
just literally compounding it for every year.
Yeah.
And I get, just like I said, not just like, or just like you said, not getting sour on the ones that you lose out on, because they
Mm,
eventually come around. But it's always keeping the mindset of, okay, who else can we help? Because there's so many people out there,
yes.
and we don't want to, I don't want to put this out there, but there are some agents that aren't really great at their job and they have ill intentions. And I would much rather be the one to earn the business, so I know that they're getting taken care of, than Joe Schmo over here who has it just because he wants to meet his numbers. So another way to look at it is you have the best intentions for your clients, and there are some people out there who don't.
Yes, 100%. And that's why 90% of the business is done by that top 10% of real estate professionals like yourself, who's actually like being your true authentic self, helping, serving, supporting. So question, I'm curious because I can imagine people out there being curious. Like you talk to the fact that like be authentic, be loving, be caring, be kind. It's not a transaction. People aren't just numbers. There's more to it. There's a story. There's more behind the scenes than just oh, here's your house, thank you, bye bye. So
Yeah.
when you get to 100, right? You said you're going to get to 100 this year. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you keep it personal at that level, especially only being yourself and a transaction coordinator? That sounds like like either you're using some technology to help you, or what do you do there?
Really, a transaction coordinator. She gets to do all the paperwork, all that, because I'm not a very organized person. I like to just figure it out as we go. She's very, and you can't be that way in this business. Not
Yeah.
all the time, anyways. So she does all the not so fun stuff. So I do get to be able to focus one-on-one with my clients and not have to worry about what the attorney has said or what's this
Mm,
coming back with. I get to really genuinely be there, with them, and not worry about all the behind the scenes crap that I hate dealing with. But yeah, I mean, I would say, out of the 100, there's obviously some in there that aren't gonna be happy, and it's not
yeah.
because of me. It's just that's just who they are. And again, something that it's taken me a long time to learn is that you can't make everyone happy. Sometimes people just
Yeah.
want to be miserable, and that's okay. It's not my fault. I tried everything I can. I need to know that I can sleep at night, so I have to do my best every day,
Yeah.
or else I will really eat at my soul. But yeah, I mean, out of it's not that hard keeping it personal with that many people as long as you have the right intentions.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. What are some things people could like look out for, right? Like maybe, they're young, they don't really, maybe know how to navigate conversations, relationships, as well as maybe someone seasoned like yourself, as you've been in the business as long as you have. Like what are some things that you would like, just, hey, these are some basic things, people should know these things, but this is what you do just to stand out and to make sure that you're always kind of going beyond and above, if you will.
Yeah, it's really just uh, being genuine when I ask questions. I'm not asking the questions to try to earn your business. I really truly am, like just like you said, curious about your family and why this new adventure of you moving or you purchasing, and I truly want to know those so I know that I can help you out in the best way. And so being inquisitive
Mm,
without an underlying reason to be. Also, too, is that when certain don't work out, they a lot of people get stuck on the idea that it has to work. Sometimes it's just
mm,
not the best situation for the buyer or the seller, so you all have to move on. But I really just be an inquisitive person, just being
love that.
inquisitive and being genuine about the questions that you're asking. And it's your family and your friends. They want to see you succeed, so make sure you're asking them for the business as well. Eventually, they'll come around.
I love that. I love that. So what comes up for me when you're talking about being more inquisitive is that, like, in the back of your mind, when you're thinking about the person you're about to serve, you're not thinking about what the house is going to appraise for and how
Mhm.
much you could sell the house for and how much your commission is going to be after you pay your broker fees and commission splits and or what have you.
Right.
So it's more so of the thought process of like asking the questions about the friends, the family, why they're moving, what they're doing. When people talk, it's interesting how there's like we have two ears, one mouth. And I heard like someone say something like when you listen more than you speak, then the person will feel more connected to you from a psychological standpoint because of the fact that they're like, whoa, like I feel like I really know you, even though like I said nothing, but okay, like
Yeah.
you know the talking,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yep.
So I think that that's something for our viewers and listeners to take note on is like, hey, like listen with two ears, speak with one mouth, set the intention to show up for someone that I feel like could potentially you could help one way or another. And whether it's just education from the beginning, from the market standpoint, what's happening and things to think about, to like actually, like you said, ask for the business or potentially go through the transaction, whether it's buy
Yeah.
side, sell side. I think that once you do get the deal buy side, sell side, is because you were inquisitive, like you said, and you asked the right questions and you were caring and kind and loving, and it made a big difference.
Yeah.
And I think that like people are more open too. Like once you go deeper in the conversation and they feel that like they know you and you know them and that know like trust is built, then it's just like, okay, now it's easier to ask for the business, or it's easier to go into the details about, tell me about your goals and what are you trying to achieve and what are you trying to do, and so on and so forth. And I think that it's transferable all over the place, because even on the lift off agent side, that's exactly what we do. Like, hey, let's talk, let's understand each
Yeah.
other. What's the goals? Where are you headed? Why do you want to leverage this technology to save you time or whatever the case may be, in contrast to what you're doing? It's very similar but different. I feel like.
Yeah, no, and it's always, if you can turn the conversation, and it's never about me, me, me. I
Mm.
always try to turn and this is being in this on this side of the interview is very odd for me because I'm usually always the one asking the questions.
Yeah, I see that.
Um, but it's if you can always turn the conversation around and again be very inquisitive about themselves. People love sharing about their life and what they're doing, and as long as you're not asking, well, why did you do that? It's what's causing you to take this new adventure. It's all in the way that you prepare the questions as well. It doesn't sound like you're kind of prying into their life, but as soon
Mm,
as they start opening up again, just like you said, it builds the trust. It builds and trust is huge in this business. If you start working with someone that doesn't trust you, and you immediately know it's going to be a very difficult transaction because during the whole process you're trying to build the trust. That's
yes.
really tough. But if you can start building that trust up front, and they know that you do have their best interests in mind and you are going to get them to the closing table as efficiently and easy as possible, then it's an easy transaction. But asking the questions is building that trust. That's a big component to the beginning of making it a very easy relationship throughout the process.
I love that. I love that. So we're getting closer to the end of the show. It sounds like normally you are asking the questions and and prying and going deeper and what have you. And if I could be of service, I always love to also be on the other side of the table because I feel like
Yes.
no challenge, no change, right? Like we have
Oh,
to
yes.
challenge one another, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting how someone could maybe ask a question or probe on a subject matter, and it can like kind of open up our minds to maybe something that wasn't thought about before or something that was said differently that makes you feel like, oh wow, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at the end of the show we like to like leave it open to you, anything that you want to give to our viewers and listeners, because we really want to give the intention for them to take things from the show, apply it to their business, and have more success. Because there's a lot of paid things out there, a lot of courses, a lot of paid, a lot of this, a lot of that. We're
Mm-hmm.
not any type of brokerage. We're just a neutral party here just to serve the industry. So first off, thanks for being with us. Really appreciate it. And
Thank you.
what would you like to give our viewers and listeners? And I want to go ahead and give you the mic.
Oh man, no pressure. No, I really feel as though there a lot of people just don't they feel like they're alone in their struggles, and it could be alone in their struggles and no matter what aspect of their life.
Mm,
Um, but finding someone that you can be mentored, whether they know they're mentoring you or not. I have mentors that don't even know that they're mentoring me because I follow every step of their life and they inspire me to be better. But really finding those people that do inspire you to want to be a better person, and it not just be in business. The people that I allow to speak into my life and motivate me and inspire me are people that want to emulate every aspect of, not just in
mm,
business, but in their relationships and their health and their finances. I want to emulate people like that because there could be someone that's wildly successful in their business, but behind the scenes, their family is suffering because they've put all their love and attention into one thing and neglected another. So make sure that whoever you are choosing as a mentor, someone that you're looking up to and want to emulate, is someone in every aspect of their life that you want to be like. So
wow.
that's really something that I love to preach on, is because it's very very important. And so really that's it. Just finding someone that you you respect in every aspect, and don't be afraid of the ask. I ask people all the time that I know would never even give me the time of day or on an interview or a chat, a discussion, or just 5 minutes of their time. But you never know, that one person, that one message that Ed Milet might just go through and he might say yes. It doesn't matter. So don't be
Yeah.
afraid of the question and of asking. The worst thing they can say is no. But then also just finding someone that's a mentor to you in every aspect of your life, because that's invaluable, really. So that's all.
Amen. 100%. I have to say that, you know, I think that it's not utilized enough, but podcasts are a great way where they don't have
Mm,
to be super over engineered and
right.
edited and polished. You could do a Zoom call where you can record it, or you could do StreamYard or Riverside, whatever, and it could be online like this, and like you're so on the money. Like just get those interviews, talk with those individuals, and it's
Hmm.
amazing how you can almost have like a free coaching call.
Yeah, that's it. That's kind of what I
Basically,
use. Yeah, that's what. And I mean, my guests don't know that's what I'm doing, but that is really kind of what I'm doing. I'm learning so
yes,
much. So yeah,
yes,
it's
I
exactly
love
it.
that. That
You've
and then
uncovered the secret.
hey, Heard it first. And the other thing I want to say is that I like what you said. Find a mentor, someone that doesn't have to specifically you pay and you meet consistently, but for someone that you can can be mentored by because of their content, right? With social media and YouTube and what have you, it's pretty crazy. You jump on the email newsletters or what have you if they have it. But the one thing that I will say that's harder to find in the world of mentors and the business world is that you'll see either the business side real heavy, not so much the personal side, and then like hardly ever the spiritual side, or you'll see really heavy on the personal side if it's trying to be monetized, or real heavy on the spiritual side, because I feel like what is shown more so than not is monetized, and the things that aren't not being monetized, they aren't shown as much. And it's interesting because you look at it, and you look at Gary Vee, and you look at all these people, and it's unfortunate that they don't show a lot of the other sides of who they are and what they're doing. And it could be as easy from a perspective of a story. And that's one thing that I do. I always make sure to showcase and show what's going on all three quadrants. And it's funny that you brought that up, because the Liftoff experience, Liftoff's more than a name, it's a story. We're actually going deeper in those three different quadrants. And the first episode goes live this Friday, and it's an in-person show sitting here in the hot seat in Gilbert, Arizona. So we can go deeper on all
That's really awesome. It's so important. It's so important. I love that you're doing that and spreading awareness, because it is. It's very important to know everyone's story, because you could be following someone's journey and want to be just like them, and just like you said, but not really knowing what's behind the scenes. So surrounding yourself with those people. Yeah.
Yes, be careful, right? They could be cheaters. They could be who knows what, right? Like drugs.
And we've all met that one person, or more than one people, that you're like, they have it together. Look at their life. And then you get a sneak peek behind the scenes. And you're like, oh my gosh, I would never want to spend a day in your shoes. But yeah, finding those people, it may be a little tough, but reach out to either one of us, anyone that's listening, and we can always plug you into a group that has an amazing amazing camaraderie, and everyone's kind of rooting for each other. So
amen. Wow, this was amazing, Jessica. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, from strangers to best friends, you heard it here.
That's it. BFS forever now.
Let's go. But yeah, y'all out there, go give her a follow. Links are down below. And check her out. Definitely reach out to us, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're not. Anytime. We're always here to help.
Yeah, we're a DM away. Thanks so much for your time. We'll be live in the weeks to come. I think we're like 5-6 weeks, basically kind of backlogged as we launch our shows. We'd love to catch you on an IG live. We'd love to be of service.
Yeah, you're going to be my next guest. So
let's go.
Stay tuned.
It's Mr. Liftoff. I got you.
All right. Hey, all right. I got it down.
All right. Well, Jessica, thanks so much. Have a blessed rest of your day.
You too.
And thanks for all our viewers and listeners, as it is our intention to take things from our show to 100% more massive success. See you all in the next one.